Welcome to West of Tulsa. I'm CJ Ward, and we are broadcasting from Studio 3 in Ventura, California. Thank you for joining us. Since this is our third show, everybody knows us at this point. So we got Beth, we got Gabe, we got Helm, and you got Dan. The whole crew is here today. Plus, we have a special guest who's going to join us in a moment. First of all, I want to acknowledge Helm's fine work. You know where I'm going with this. That outtakes is the funniest damn thing I have seen in ages. For anybody who hasn't seen Helm's outtakes on our YouTube channel, go to westoftulsa.com. No, West of Tulsa. West of Tulsa YouTube, right?
I mean, you can't go to our website.
You could do that.
We
It would
have
take you
all
to it.
all platforms. All platforms.
The whole point is, though, that is the funniest damn video I've seen in a long time.
Had a blast.
Yeah.
Bloopers. Helm's bloopers,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
Is how it's
yes.
labeled.
I just think it's funny because we know him, but maybe I don't know if you didn't know him. Craig, did you see the?
I did see the bloopers.
What do
Very
you think?
funny.
Okay.
I just couldn't stop laughing.
I mean, it's got to go viral at some point. So we just got to let everybody know about
Exactly.
it, because that is
God help us.
That's the way Beth gets up in the morning now and goes, I'm kind of feeling down. Let's watch Helm's Outfit. And all of a sudden, everybody's like in a great mood in the house.
Great
So-
I love
moves.
that.
It
I love
is.
that.
It
And it
really
worked.
is.
And it
It's
worked.
awesome. I think you need to introduce our guest now that you just referred to him.
No, we're not going to do
Oh,
it.
okay, we're not
Okay.
gonna.
No.
Thank you and good night.
Nobody.
I wonder how much shit you've gotten from friends who saw the outtakes.
Oh,
and
they
Actually like him. It's weird.
Yeah, all the
Man.
all the messages I received were great. They thought it was hilarious, and they just saw that it was real, And if they didn't believe how many takes it took to get there, but this is new to me, so I'm getting comfortable now that we're on our third episode. So
Helm, seeing you melt down on camera made my week. It was incredible.
256 takes, right?
Exactly. Especially my first take when you looked at me on the first episode when I was like, "Nice to meet you," but I've known you for how many
Wait,
months already.
it's not him saying nice. He's nice to meet you.
I
Your voice went up an octave.
I froze, So
I love it when he goes, at one point, it was probably mistake 40 or something. I was saying, Helm's like, no, I got it. And he's like, why? Oh my God! If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. It's just so damn funny. All right, now to our mystery man, Craig Lichtenstein. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
So good to see you.
I love the studio.
We're just going to assume everybody knows how famous you are.
Of course. I mean, who doesn't?
Who does?
When you're looking at your screen right now, how can you not?
Oh, I know that guy. Especially if you've gone to Cars and Coffee anywhere in Southern California.
Yeah, and I'll sign your car. I'll
The dashboard.
I'll Sharpie your car.
Whether you want me to or not.
So Craig is a pilot, car aficionado, and I love it because you've got such a great mix of cars in your collection. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh,
What do you
God.
got?
Okay. We have 4 Jaguars, 4 Porsches, 2 Aston Martins, 2 Morgan 3-wheelers, and a 1987 Toyota Celica.
All right. Nice collection.
All hidden away throughout Southern California
Wow.
in the vaults.
And the other thing I like, too, is that you get those cars out and you drive them.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose is to drive my. I think when I see them before I buy them, that it should drive a certain way, and so far I've been rewarded in all of them. Haven't bought any that I'm like I can't take this anymore.
What's probably the? I don't want to insult anybody. What's the most challenging car to drive? Let me ask you that.
The car we're talking about today.
Is that the most challenging?
That is the most challenging car to drive out.
Why? This is a Porsche, right?
Yeah.
I call it the 1960s Dana Point coral kind of color. It's kind of
Yes.
It's kind of coral, but it's kind of tan. It's got all these colors to it.
It's got brown. It's got some salmon in there.
Yeah.
Wait, I lived
Salmon's even a
in
color.
Dana Point. What makes it Dana Point color?
I don't know. I just it's a reminder, and I'm really dating myself, but of the 60s in Dana Point because
You would have your tennis outfit
Spent some
on,
time
and
there.
you would go in that car in Dana Point. It would match.
It was
the
just
surround-
Fair enough.
It was just a
Fair enough.
Just a coastal color.
That sounds like Dana Point.
coastal color.
yeah,
How's
coastal
that?
color.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it. So that's the Porsche 331. Is what
Yes.
You and I have always referred to it as just 331.
The 331st Porsche ever made, just sitting there.
So exciting.
More 901 than 911.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's stamped 901 all over the place.
Yes, and there's no 911 badging on it at all.
So for people who don't know, Porsche originally, the 911 was originally in-house 901, and it was going to be publicly 901.
Yes.
Except Peugeot already had a 901 model and fought Porsche over the name. So in 63 and 64, Porsche had to kind of give in and change the 0 to a 1, and the 911 is born.
Yeah, so this car would have been during that lawsuit,
Yes.
sitting, getting built, no one knowing what to do. I don't even know if they even had any badging made at that time yet.
Well, your car doesn't have any 911
Nothing.
badging on it.
Nothing, zero.
Yeah.
That's why people are always confused. It sits a little differently too, just for the mission of that car. So it's, it's an enigma.
And you think about it, so this is, last year was the 60th anniversary of Porsche, and they built 1.2 or 1.3 million 911s over the years. This is only the 331st.
Yes.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's as low as I can get it.
Wow.
How do you authenticate a car like that, Craig?
Oh, God. Well, you can always have an appraiser come, but the car should come with the history. And this car came with it all. I have original pictures, like Polaroids from when it left the factory. When the original owner, Lieutenant Meyer, left the factory in it. I have pictures of it when it was shipped to the U.S. I have the bill of sale for it. I have all the restoration pictures, which I brought in today, so you can see some of them. There are tons of them. So everything's been authenticated with the way it looked when it, before restoration to what it is now. All the chrome was original on it. Mm-hmm. So they were able to save all of that. So it's as it's authenticated as it can get.
And what is the color? What is the official
It's
factory
just
color?
called Bronze 679. And then I'll talk about, there was 3 browns, the car before it and the car after it. The car before it had more yellow in that brown. That turned into toga brown. The car after mine had more black in it. That turned into sepia brown, which you'll see 2 years later. And then my color, I guess, just wasn't used.
Which makes yours just the only one of its kind in the world.
It is, I guess, it is a factory paint to sample.
Well, they
a
were
test color.
just testing, right?
Yeah,
That's the way
they
it
were
was.
testing the browns,
Yeah.
but it seems like from what I've read, 330, the one right before, was also a press car. So something was telling me that the browns were going to be used as test cars. And then they just kind of forgot about it.
So let's tell a little bit more history about the car, because the story and how Lieutenant Herbert Meyer, the gentleman who bought this car brand new from the Porsche factory, he shows up, he's stationed in Germany, decides, I want to buy a 356.
Kind of, sort of. He flew to Germany to pick up the car. He had to report to the Air Force base in Italy. So it gave him time to pick up the car, do a whole skiing vacation in the Swiss Alps, and then report for duty.
But he wanted a 356 when he went there, right?
He had his order for 356. It was ordered through Bruno's. All he had to do was just go, get it, turn it on, and go. Put his skis in, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, and this is where I want to find out one day, he saw a back of a warehouse, and he saw a bunch of 911s, and he's like, "What are those?" So the guy showed him, and he said, "I want one of those." And they told him, "We can't have it. They're all spoken for." And he wasn't taking no for an answer. So they, eventually they said, the one you can have is this one, which was sitting in your parking lot. And they wrote up a handwritten bill of sale. Dr. Porsche signed it. And he put the ski racks on. I do have the ski racks for it. I should have put them on
It was a
today.
$15.50
Yes.
add-on.
Yes.
And they installed the ski racks, yeah.
Yes. And then right from there, right from him leaving the factory, he went skiing.
And I love because when you see the paperwork too, which is on our website, we've included it. You'll see the bill of sale that Porsche wrote up, and they crossed it where it says model. They put a bunch of X's and crossed out probably what showed 901 maybe.
Yeah.
And they had a hand type in 911 above it.
There. Yeah. That's
Shows you
more of the mystery.
beautiful. But-
Yeah, and he drove it, I guess, for his term of service and then it shipped on the Queen Elizabeth II.
Oh, but wait a minute! Before you get to there, you were telling me that he went on a ski trip. and then he drove it to Italy. And they had
right.
a huge party when he arrived because it was the first 911
It was
to arrive
the
in
first
Italy.
911 to be serviced in Italy.
Wow.
I wish I could say it's the first 911 that was ever serviced in Germany. I mean, that means something, but first 911 ever serviced in Italy. And they did throw a party.
Yeah, and you've got photos.
I got photos of it.
That's cool.
And the secretaries and everyone's getting it.
They're all
Everyone's having a
smiling.
piece of that car. They threw it, and everyone's looking at it. You can see them in their suits. Everyone wears suits. We should be in suits. But they're,
like
they're
that
all
idea.
looking at it like, what is this? You know, like we would look at it, Cars and Coffee. And and I have it stamped in the book. And so he must have drove the living daylights out of it. You have to get that
They have
first
to
service in
yeah.
there.
Wow.
So are you second, third, fourth owner? Where do you?
I luckily get to be the second owner of the
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
which is
Whoa.
the story that leads into the story and how I got it. But the previous guy who owned it to me never registered it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But he had the work done on it. He was the one who helped restore it.
Yeah, but that's a little shade. But yeah, he had it restored and was 7-year restoration.
Yeah.
And then he gets it. And I know he was in a motorcycle accident, but like I said, like you asked, it's a very temperamental car. So it just didn't fit him.
Yeah.
Fits me well.
Fits you like a glove.
So
So I saw you pull up
the,
in it.
The previous guy who didn't register that owned it, he started the restoration and you finished it?
No. It was already it finished. It was
okay.
done.
Oh, okay.
And he got it. He got it back and stored it in Santa Monica. Didn't really drive it. And just decided it was time for it to go.
In fact, when it was stored in Santa Monica, I actually saw this car before he did.
He did.
Really?
It's like saying,
Yeah.
hey, your wife, I saw her before you did. That-
It did. And it was funny. It's funny you said that. We have a mutual friend.
Yeah.
Mutual friend. And I remember when he was going down to take pictures of it, and I was like, oh, I want to go see that car. And he was very shady about it. Like, they wouldn't tell me when he was going and wouldn't tell me. He's like, I'm going to go take pictures of the car. And I'm like, I want to go, and I knew you were going.
Yeah.
I'm like, why does he get to go?
He goes, yeah.
CJ gets to go, and I don't.
And it was down in the basement, like a storage area, and like a
weird.
just way in the back behind like
Really?
a locked
Oh my
gate and
gosh,
everything. I
wow.
was like, whoa.
And that's where it would have been trapped,
Yeah.
sitting there.
We're just sitting there. But okay, so go back to where the next, right after Italy, you have photos of it being loaded on the Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Come to the U.S.
And you know what? Man, there is this woman in that photo. I don't know who she is, but we should all find out who she is.
That's the
Very-
investigative.
Beautiful woman. I mean, just standing in front of the Queen Elizabeth II with the car, and you're like, this guy had it all. And I hope she went with him.
And maybe is watching. Maybe she'll
Maybe,
see that.
I don't-
I'm the woman in that photo. Wouldn't
that
be
be
great?
nice? Yeah, wouldn't that be nice to contact her? But yeah, I mean, just there goes this Porsche on one of the most famous cruise liners ever.
It sounds like you're more infatuated with the lady who was standing next to the Porsche than the Porsche that you now own.
She was really good looking, like really good looking.
so hot cars do
like-
bring hot women.
Not to me.
Did to me.
It did, yeah. Yeah, that stuff doesn't work for me.
Yeah, you thought I was a geek the first time we met. You was like, I had Porsche or what did I have on the wall?
You had Ferraris framed in your living room.
Yeah, there-
And I thought that was just not
CJ.
a good thing to do.
Okay, that's enough about that. Craig, let's talk more about
Was there a Lambo? Was there a Lambo somewhere too?
There was a Lambo.
Yes.
So the car is shipped. Lieutenant Meyer ships it from Europe, Italy, the Queen Elizabeth II comes over to the U.S. He lived in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
That's what everything says. I know they had a house in Utah, and I know because something with Las Vegas because the car has the sticker, the Las Vegas Ski Club,
Yeah.
which I wonder if it's still in existence. So I know obviously he likes skiing. So I think Utah. I think for South Carolina for a while, then Utah, and then maybe back to South Carolina. Somehow it got to the East Coast to rot away.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know how that happened.
And you got photos of how bad the rust was on
Yeah.
parts
Oh,
of it.
no.
Oh yeah, I was a little shocked, but yeah. What a
Whoever did it did a fantastic job.
Well, the
on
Paddock
rebuilding.
brothers in New York, New Jersey, and they're known for this kind of stuff. So it was in good hands. The engine was rebuilt, of course, by a nuclear scientist, as they always say. And here I have it.
That's a great car.
Yeah.
Anywhere he brings it, he gets a crowd.
Oh, yeah,
I
I mean-
bet.
So in the restoration, obviously it's not the original paint. How did they matched the original.
There's
one of
pictures
paint.
of that, but yeah, they took a bunch of paints and they knew the code, so you could backtrack it a little bit, and they just
So the paint was never in production, but there was a code for the paint.
yes.
Oh,
Bronze 679 would have been kind of their
sure,
code.
sure.
And then when you do kind of research like that, you find out like some 356s and early had 3 number paint codes. But this doesn't match any of it. Like I don't, when sometimes I try to research it, 356 had a color terracotta, and I'm like, oh, it's close. Oh my God. And then I'm like, no, this one has pink in it. This one has more of a salmon, which does the salmon really have a color? I mean, is it silver or dying red? Everyone says salmon and knows what it is, but maybe the meat color.
Yeah, and when I saw the first time I saw your car in the sunlight, it has that nice, soft, almost a metallic-y, peachy hue to it. And you're like, wow, that's just such an interesting color.
Once
There's
you
an
see
iridescence to it.
Yeah.
It really is.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Color,
Yeah.
I noticed that you parked probably 20 spots away from all of us. Unfortunately, under a tree, so there is a bird poop on there. I just wanted to tell you.
No.
I'm just kidding. We have to
Stop the show. We gotta go.
Clean it.
I'm curious. Are you nervous driving it?
No. I'll drive it. I'll park it on the street. Dordings are our enemies. Yeah, I got to think about that. I got to think about that.
Man,
So yeah, I will park in the outfield. I will go as far away from people as possible.
people could sideswipe you.
I'd rather that than just go back and see this little ding there. That you're like, oh.
But you know how it goes. Like you park in the North 40 of some lot, and then some guy just finds you and has to park.
Yeah,
right there.
exactly.
It's like,
Right.
what the
'Cause they're
hell?
messing
All
with
these
there.
spots.
Yeah,
you
they
right
took a
next to mine.
picture for their Facebook. Look what I did.
Yeah,
For sure,
exactly.
for sure.
Well, that great history with the car, and the many years that you've owned it, has Porsche Museum of Germany ever contacted you to kind of give light to the car, or maybe participate in something of?
No, I'd love that. I'd love them to, but I talk to Porsche historians, and usually it just doesn't really go anywhere because there's a lot of holes to the car that I like to figure out. Try to find some pictures.
Yeah.
Where was it? That on the factory. Where was it hiding? Where this guy saw it? I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting when you look at the numbers. So Porsche started building them in '63, late '63. So 1964 is kind of the holy grail when it comes to Porsche.
Yes.
If you can get a 64 911, they only made 235, something
Yes.
like that. But 65, your year, still was only 235 cars.
Well, that was because of Ford. That was because the Mustangs were coming out. So for U.S. cars, they couldn't be registered 65s. They took up all of it.
Wow.
So that's why you get a lot of 66s. Then they're like, oh, it's a 65, but registered 66. So blame Ford.
Wow.
Blame that Demo. Blame that Mustang.
But it just shows how exclusive that car is in terms of production history for Porsche.
Yeah, and everyone, it was a rolling engineering continuation. Even on my car, parts are not where they would have been in a little slightly later models. And my wheels, left side is 63 wheels, right side is 64 wheels.
Because you can tell from the stamp on it.
Yeah, they're
right?
stamped on. Yeah, so they just rolled them from the 356 lot.
Whatever it takes just to put that thing together.
Yeah,
That's what they were doing, yeah.
Yeah, and since it was supposed to be a press car, maybe that's why. Stance is a little different too. It's a little more toe out, a little lower. And I want to, I'd love to find out if that was something that they did for press cars to make you feel like you're a little lower, a little more in a race car.
Maybe. I think one of the things that's interesting about a car like yours is people think, God, how do you end up with something like that? I mean, how do you get a chance? You just show up at an auction and pay a shitload of money and you end up with this amazing car. You have a great story about that as well, how this thing kind of just fell in your lap.
Yeah. All right, are we ready for it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, Beth, ready?
I'm going to
It-
hold
it-
my ears.
It involves a
tightly
hot
closed.
tub.
It
So
does
that-
involve a
Okay,
hot
go for it, go for it. I'm bracing myself.
And I'll, you can get the picture of it, but
Yeah.
I'll
From
reinforce.
you, we'll get the picture,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure.
everyone will get the picture. So it happened first behind the scenes before I knew it. We talk about their friend, Mike the Taubers. Mark is a well-known car matchmaker, we'll call him. Because he likes to say, I just
Who's
don't
Mark?
find you a car.
You're the dad?
Yeah,
Father?
Mark.
Yeah, Mike's
Oh,
dad, yeah.
sorry,
Is your-
Mike's
yeah,
dad.
you-
They're father and son
There
team,
you
or
go.
they could be. But Mark will find you a car, it'll be, it's a matchmaker, a match made in heaven. I mean, you'll marry your car, you'll have babies with it. You'll have him bar mitzvah, or bat mitzvah. So he calls his son and says, listen, she's thinking about selling the car. The only one I can see in it is Craig. What do you think? He's like, no way, Dad. He's not going to pay for that. I was a very midline collector, so he's not going to pay that kind of money for it. He's like, Mike, just ask him. I have this feeling about it.
Yeah.
So, so Mike calls me, and
You're in the hot tub.
well, I was just about to get there. Okay. Yes, Beth, I was in the hot tub. Yes, Beth, I didn't have any clothes on.
Hey.
If you're going to do a deal,
Well, I'm feeling like you weren't alone in the hot tub, but maybe you were.
Well, I'm always alone in the hot tub.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll leave it at that.
Even if I had a
Move on.
girlfriend or was married, I'd still be alone in the hot tub. They just don't know. Mike calls me and he's like, my dad's going to call you, but he's going to offer you this. And I told him no. I was like, I can't do it. That's how, oh my God, I'm not that kind of person. So right after that phone call, Mark calls me and he's telling me about the car. And he's filling me in about the history. And I'm in that hot tub and it's getting hot in there.
He's getting hot and bothered.
Yeah. I mean, things are happening in the hot tub. I mean, eventually, like we talked about earlier, I was like, this just doesn't happen. Like no one just calls you out of the blue while you're soaking.
I'm getting hot and I'm rolling up my sleeves. The temperature's rising in here.
That's right. See, it is. It was 68, but now it feels 80. And I was thinking, and I just said, give me 24 hours. Wow. Even though I knew right there. Yeah. I couldn't get out of the hot tub, put it that way.
You spent 24 hours in the hot tub after that, didn't you? That's where you do your best thinking. And I don't want to know what else you do.
Well, I couldn't get out of the hot tub. The neighbors were hurt. So, I called them the next day and I said yes.
Wow.
Till death do us part. And
you don't regret it for a second, do you?
No, not at all. Not at all. The car, I mean, you're just not going to find a 911 like that.
Yeah.
It puts you on the 911 board.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then now I can go out and buy Toyota Celicas. I have the ego car. I could do it.
Right.
But that says a lot about you for them to kind of say, "Hey, Craig is the perfect person to buy that." And
That's
why? And if you look back at that, what do you think was the reason behind that? Is it because just the friendship, or something about the person where, the car needs to fit that person, right? And finding that right person is a key factor in
Or a great custodian for the car.
custodian,
Yeah, I
exactly.
think he knows the way I take care of cars.
Yeah.
I try to have all my cars look like they were at a minimum 2 years used. That's all of them. That's even the older Jags.
Yeah.
Everything must look like it's just on the showroom floor and also be able to drive you across the country.
Nice.
So everything has to be perfect.
I'm surprised you have time to sit in the hot tub.
I did then. It was nice. It was a nice.
So, how long ago did this happen? How long have you had the car?
Over 3 years. So I think this happened during a June.
Okay. So, you had the car. It was already restored. What did you do since you've had the car? What did you do? What have you done to the car, or have you done anything to the car?
Oh yeah, it never stops.
Yeah.
Now, mechanically, we're working on some engine. They're trying to get the engine perfect. It was rebuilt, but it just needs a little more work. And that's where our friend Marco at TLG is doing it.
Shout out to Marco.
He's doing a good job. He told me, go drive it for 1,000 miles. And I'm up to 250, man. I'm up to 250. Get it done. So little things like that, little interior bits that came off. I had to replace the muffler. The muffler was rusted through. I think maybe because it spent a lot of time either on the East Coast getting restored. I think the East Coast worked its magic. So it has a new muffler on it. Other than that, exterior wise, the thing has been wet sanded to an inch of its life, and I do have paint protection film on the whole car. I wasn't going to let anything. And of course, the one little chip, which I'm never going to show anybody, happened in the one place where they didn't put the PPF.
Oh, of course.
No.
And they couldn't. I told them not to. It was my fault. I was like, no, that area is too complicated. I'm like, just nothing really happens there anyways.
I'm gonna look for it.
I saw
I'm
it.
gonna look for it now.
I just saw the mental picture in my head. I saw the rock just hitting the freeway and bouncing up. I see my friend's face, and I was like, he saw it. We both saw it.
Oh wow.
It was a bad day.
Slow motion tragedy.
It was. It was.
Craig, are those the original Solex carburetor?
Yes. Yes. Everything is numbers matching.
Wow.
So yeah, no Webers, no other Solixes, no weird engines. No.
Because
this is
those carburetors look like straight off the shelf. I mean, they look brand new.
Well, you got to get in there, man. You got to get in there and clean it.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta love it. Yeah, if one day I'm gonna do a YouTube video, make a sandwich out of my engine.
I love it. That's what I said. I said
There's
you could
lots-
eat
yeah.
you could eat off that engine. You could
Yeah.
eat off that carburetor. It's amazing.
Yeah, just get that bread nice and.
So where do you keep this beautiful automobile along with and he's going into areas that are taboo, according to Gabe. How many cars do you have, which Gabe refuses to answer, even though it's our third podcast? And how many cars does it take to become a collection?
One car.
Oh,
You are now a collector, Beth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
like that.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm in the
I
club.
like that.
Yeah, one car. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
You're
Wow.
collecting.
Then we all qualify.
Yeah.
We all got, yeah. Who doesn't?
Even
wait,
you, Dan, with your
Yes.
Corolla, you qualify as a collector. You collect
Is it
Toyota.
He's gonna
vintage?
own a Benz soon.
Is it vintage?
2017.
Not
No,
quite.
not
I don't
yet.
think. I don't think 2017.
You got 22 more years.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Beth is bringing up this topic because we had dinner the other night with some friends, and they were in Colorado.
In Longmont, Colorado.
Longmont.
Longmont. Well, okay, let's move on from that.
It's a whole other podcast.
The hot tub story's over. They were sitting in a restaurant, and there were a bunch of car guys on the table next to him, and they were having this pretty heated debate about, well, how many cars do you have to have before it would actually qualify as a collection?
And we talked about this before, and so he said we need to pose this to Craig. So one car.
So one car.
car.
That's a
I
simple
love that.
answer. What do you guys think? I mean, is it minimum 3? Is it 5?
Well, no, I mean, by definition, one car could be a collection. I mean, you have.
Yeah.
Okay, his Porsche that's sitting outside our studio right now, which is crazy that Porsche is sitting outside of our studio. You have that one. I mean, it probably totals all of mine, my friends' cars, is more valuable than that, you know? So it's like, is that a collection? Yeah.
It depends
Just
on the
I've got
car.
that one.
Depends
Yeah,
on the car.
Well,
right?
yeah.
You know,
I'd
My
say so.
Acura doesn't count, and Dan's.
But see,
car
there might be a
doesn't count,
Honda guy that
maybe.
might think that does count.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
Because
true.
there are
That's
there
true.
are guys that restore Honda Civics, believe it or not. You know?
At
That-
high
that-
levels, too, yeah.
Yeah,
OEM
absolutely.
spec.
Absolutely.
It's not about the money sometimes with collecting cars.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
like you said, like
exactly.
it's worth this much. But you know, my Toyota Celica just gives me just as much joy driving around
Sure.
as that thing. It's easier to drive around than that thing.
Sure.
And
Can
the-
you talk about
and-
why you ended up with a Celica? Is it so different from what you normally collect?
Well,
How did you end up with that?
The story was my friends like, let's go to Florida and buy a car and rally it back, you know, stop along the way and then restore it and keep it. And, you know, life gets in the way of everybody. So it wasn't happening. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to find it. We weren't supposed to tell each other what cars. So this was the car that I had in high school. I had the same spec. I wanted to see how it was in the modern world. And it holds up really well. Still super reliable. 34 miles to the gallon.
Wow. What year?
Yeah.
What year is it?
1987.
Oh,
They can't even do that with electric cars now.
Hey,
Yeah, they get now with the most modern technology. You can't even do it. And I just wanted to see. So it's a 1987 Toyota Celica GT convertible. And I didn't spare any expense. You know, all the dings were taken out. The paint was, sanded, corrected. I did reshoot the hood. The interior was nice already, and I just
Had to have it.
I just had to have it. It
Wait,
had to
so
be part
it
of
was
the collection.
original paint on the car, other than
Yeah,
the hood?
yeah, it's original paint. Yeah,
I mean,
Eh,
it survived that long. That's
someone
cool.
loved it.
That's cool.
yeah.
and I think it was an older woman. Of course,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, if you're ever a car collector and you want to meet, go to
Absolutely.
older
Oh,
women.
yeah, exactly.
Go to the older ladies.
Absolutely.
Cougars keep the cars.
Elaine drove a Celica too.
She did.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, it was a 90, I think, a 1990.
Oh yeah,
Celica, yeah.
those are another good year. So I'm not trying to relive my high school dreams, though I do have my Letterman jackets in there. Maybe my girlfriend will go parking with me.
What did you let her in?
Baseball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did. I tried.
But didn't make it to the majors, huh? Is that
No, didn't make it too far.
it as far as Bull
Make
Durham?
it too far off the bench.
And not to put out a treasure map, but you keep these all in a very safe spot.
All of them are safe
in
spots.
Southern California.
Some are in Van Nuys. There's a couple that are in Moore Park. Yeah, and a couple in my garage. So yeah, so everyone is well taken care of. The insurance company would be very happy with me.
So, so of your whole collection, I know this is like the stupidest question to ask, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Is like, if you could only pick one to drive, which one would it be?
Oh man, everyone does this.
I know.
It's actually easier than you think. My Jaguar E-Type. I have a 71 Jaguar E-Type fixed head coupe. That one was my first. I've owned it in February, it will be 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So that's the one I gravitate to. That's the one that feels the most natural. Has my butt in there, you know, my butt's already in the seat.
Another nice image.
For our podcast listeners, he is fully clothed.
Feast your eyes up here. Yeah, that's the one I go to. That's the one.
And it's not because you're a Jag, because you mentioned you're a Jag guy.
I'm a Jag guy
but
by
it's not
nature.
because of you're a Jag guy, or is it because you're a Jag guy that?
No. I think out of all of them, that's the one that's it feels the best
Yeah.
when you're in it.
So we talked about this before about, what makes somebody gravitate towards some kind of car. And, because I do have a Tesla, my vacuum cleaner. Dan has his Corolla, his vacuum cleaner, but I also have my cars that I truly love that I wish I could drive all the time because there's something visceral about it, something that engaging. Would you agree with that as kind of why because you have some newer cars and you have older cars, you gravitate to the older one because there's more of a connection to them, you think?
Yes, but it's just the way they drive. Like some days you feel, if a car's like a purse, like an accessory, some days you're feeling a little vintage Gucci. Some days you're feeling, you're more modern Kate Spade.
Sure.
If I have to go there.
Sure.
See?
I'm impressed that you can make those two comparisons.
I love that he has the feminine side to him too.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah, I've got
funny.
it.
He's
got
all
my
things
other
to all
side.
people.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I would imagine you're not done expanding your collection. If something was to show up, what would you be looking for right now?
Oh, good
is there
question.
something that, like, you've got the eye on, or something sounds interesting?
There's a hole in your collection.
Yeah.
There is, but there's always a hole in the collection. When you feel it, there's another hole in the collection. You know what? I don't have a Ferrari yet. And I would like a 308 GT4.
Yeah.
I like the
Nice.
idea of it. I'm more of a GT car guy. I like the idea of the design. It was designed with space in mind, kind of like the 928, the wedge-shaped cars. It just fascinates.
And they're not in the stratosphere. That Ferrari
No,
is
that's
not in
why-
the stratosphere.
No, they're not in the stratosphere. They're very, very
doable.
doable.
Yeah.
Are you one of those collectors that has to get rid of a car to put in a collection?
No.
Okay, so you're hoarding.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to say it's not hoarding, but it's hoarding.
It's collecting. It's collecting.
So,
Yeah.
if you were to sell a car in your collection, you're like, I've had my time with this. I'm done with it. I'm gonna move on or sell it. Who you sell it to or how you sell it, does it matter?
Depends on the car. If it's the car's a real pain in the butt, then auction it. Even. But yeah, if it's something that has more of a meaning, I'd like to see it go to someone who's going to enjoy it, not a dealer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just to flip.
Yeah.
Have you actually sold a car before?
Out of mine, no.
No.
So this is all theoretical. then.
Theoretically,
Yeah. Theoretically.
theoretically, if I were to
It's
sell
all
a car.
theoretical. I'm like, no, I haven't sold any.
He's putting himself there. I see sweat forming on his forehead. Yeah,
Yeah.
just the thought of it.
Maybe that defines you as a collector. It's like I
There
don't
you go.
sell, I collect.
That's right. That's right. And I was wondering if what's more important to you is the search or the find.
The find. Yeah, the search. I don't like the search.
Okay.
Like you can look at a million cars online. You just don't know. I like it to come to me.
You just have to be in the bathtub. for that
Yeah,
call to
well,
come in.
bathtub.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, no.
It goes from the hot tub to the bathtub,
Exactly.
and then
Well, now you can get some candles going.
Hey.
You can get your mantra going.
with your diverse collection of cars, ranging from different makes and models, being kind of embedded in different communities, how different are the owners from each, from a Jaguar owner, Porsche owner?
that's a great question.
So
Selling.
different. Oh my God,
Yeah.
so different.
So-
and, and,
owner.
and,
So
and-
different.
and do you have to kind of like morph into things, or just
Yes,
self?
you do.
Oh, you do.
You do have to more like depending on the group.
Oh, really? Okay.
The Jag guys are very older, or a little more laid back. The Porsche guys, they want to know everything technical.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a technical guy. Like I don't fix cars.
Likewise, I'm not.
I can look for oil.
yeah, exactly.
Fix that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Porsche guys come up to me. Does it have this? What ratio of this? And I'm like,
Yeah.
The Aston Martin guys, all about looks.
Oh,
all
really?
about everyone just asks who you are. What do you do? Like,
okay.
very not technical about the cars. You wouldn't want to when you want them to be a little more technical.
What about the Celica guys?
Celica guys are everyone loves it. Every mechanic comes up to me.
That's
Every guy
awesome.
that has a work truck comes
Pretty
up
cool.
to me. Every kid, every young
Yeah.
millennial, that was the car. That was it. Yeah.
That
car gets the most. That car gets the most smiles, other than the Morgan 3-wheelers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Morgan guys are all nuts.
Really?
Sorry.
Oh,
They
You're
are
one of
nuts.
them.
They're
He's
older.
one of them, by the way.
They are older and they're nuts. And
Explain
their hair.
that. Explain how nutty they are.
Yeah.
Why are they nuts?
Well, you have to be a little eccentric to drive a Morgan,
mean,
especially the road cars.
Yeah.
3-wheelers. Well, you just, you're driving the special.
Well, and I have a theory behind this because I've seen him show up at Cars and Coffee in the morning where he pulls up in his Morgan with his goggles on, and he takes off his gloves, and you can tell he's frozen.
Oh yeah.
Because he just drove down at 5:30, and oh my God, I didn't think it'd be this cold. And he,
Yeah, but the new one's even worse because now I have the special jacket. They have the pannier, like the blanket that goes down. So now I get out of the car. It looks like I have a kilt on.
Really?
Yeah. So
you're Scottish now.
I guess.
Welcome to the family.
that's another image. Okay, I'm just curious. Does your mood change depending on which car you're driving? You kind of have to take on the role.
Yes, you do have to take on the role. Like in some of the Jags, you're not gonna be going fast, so you can just kind of your hands daintily on the steering wheel. When you drive the Porsche, you're like, I'm gonna every corner is an opportunity. The Aston Martin, I have a 2007. That one is more modern, so you're enjoying the leather around there. The new one, you're looking out for policemen everywhere. So and that one you can get in trouble with. So yeah, and the Morgans, you're just stand still while people drive by with their cameras and taking pictures. So yeah, you can be a little goofier on the Morgans too.
And real quickly, talking about the sensory part of it, which one smells the best and why?
Which car smells the best? That is going to have to be the newer Aston Martin. There's something about the leather. Yeah.
Oh, really?
There's just something about their leather.
Didn't we have a discussion earlier, Dan, about English leather versus Italian leather?
It's a true thing.
Yeah, we
there's
we
a
were
difference.
talking about English cows must drink tea because the leather has a certain British sort of scent to it.
It
that's
is
the
a thing. I have one of my Jags has the Recaro package, so it's Italian leather, and it is a sweeter smell.
Really?
It's a more encompassing smell. The British is like you're more on the Thames, like you smell the reeds on the river.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is something. Even Japanese leather smells different. Japanese leather smells more gamey.
Really? It's not Wagyu cows, I guess.
Yeah, not using Wagyu.
Kobe beef.
No, but it does. It has like a like if you ever go in a Toyota, like the leather in that. It's a gamier smell. Like like
Their cows drink Kirin. They feed them
Sapporo.
Kirin.
Not
Yeah.
Sapporo?
That could be it.
Sapporo, maybe.
Which
Maybe
is
Sapporo.
the softest leather and which one has more texture?
the softest leather. Who's got the softest leather?
I'm asking because I'll never know, but I just I kind of know. I shouldn't say that because of your car, CJ.
Oh, the Porsche.
Porsche.
The Porsche has
Oh.
soft.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, I had the Integra GSR that had
That's right.
beautiful leather
That's
in
right,
it too.
that's
So
right.
Yeah, it's okay. I got to give the Aston the leather again. Man, they just know how
Some
to
English
do it.
cows.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Love those cows.
What do you what do you daily drive mostly?
For daily driving, I have a Porsche Cayenne, 2019, and the one I drive the most, a Ford F-150.
Wow.
God, every Jewish boy needs a truck.
EcoBoost?
No, the V8.
You got the V8, the Coyote.
You're something. If you're getting an F-150 for resale, try to get the 8. Try to get a Lariat or XLT if you can. The XLT with leather, just to get everything right. But yeah, Ford is making a good truck.
Yeah. What year's the F-150?
2021.
Yeah. They're a nice truck.
It's better appointed than my Porsche, than a newer Porsche. So
Is it Porsche or Porsche?
I'll say Porsche. I know it's Porsche, but
Yeah,
from
because somebody,
California.
because I've got it.
They're doing it right
My-
now. They haven't even seen this.
My
podcast.
friend Blue will correct anybody that says Porsche because you don't say that. He reminds me because it's a last name, So he's like, you need to say Porsche. So
I wasn't going to say. I didn't want to see any fisticuffs or anything, so I wasn't going to say any.
I know. I just
See any fights break out west of Tulsa.
I know,
Somebody gets hurt.
I was going to
During
ask
a
from the get go,
podcast.
but I didn't want to be rude.
No,
but I am
no.
curious because it's a thing.
it is a thing, and I'm not. Yeah, it makes me. I'll give them up. I'll give them all up.
So with the 330 first on Porsche outside, being that you only put 250 miles on it, where would you like to go to meet that 1,000 before you bring it to TLG?
Oh man, I would. You know what? A little bit of everywhere.
Oh,
Love
nice,
to
nice,
go
nice.
up. Of course, to Carmel, Monterey, Paso Robles, all those roads up there.
Yeah.
Santa Barbara, of course. Nice lunch in Montecito. How can you go wrong?
Yeah.
San Diego.
Call us when you're cruising into town.
I would definitely.
We'll
want
go
to
Lunch,
do that.
lunches on
do you,
CJ.
Do you allow food in your cars?
No.
Now, that's a stupid question.
Well, it makes a difference. Like that food smell gets in every.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. Years
yeah.
down
If you
the
lose
line.
a French fry, oh my God, it's all over.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, that French fry will rot, and
Yep.
then, the mold.
You'll get down to that crack that you can't reach.
Yep.
Yeah, no food in the car. Beef jerky. Okay, you cannot
Beef
beef
jerky.
Yeah.
Craig, I have a question. You've ridden in CJ's car, correct?
Oh yeah.
Tell
Yeah,
me,
let him drive it.
Oh, yeah.
tell me about the experience of riding or driving your car, the car we're talking about, versus CJ's car, because yours is an 87, is it? CJ?
87, yeah.
87 versus yours is what year?
A 65.
65. So tell me about the compare and contrast.
Oh my god! CJ's car is like driving a pillow. The synchros are smooth, and the speed. Every gear has. Every gear will give you what it wants, and you can cruise. You're just cruising it. The 65. I mean, you got to work. Every shift is work. You have to be within the synchros, and the lever has that doesn't have much play of where how far it can go before it grinds.
Have you ground the gears in your car? Does that happen?
Sometimes it happens.
A mild grind, right?
And that's mile grind. Like usually it's
Hopefully
you
Marco's
want to get
not
into
listening.
first. You want to get into first, and I know Marco, I'm being good. And you're just a little bit. The engine's still revving a little bit too much. But yeah, everything has to be perfect with the early short wheelbase Porsches. But that's the rewarding part. After you came back from a drive to the market, if I got every shift right. I got every corner right.
You have 4 Porsches?
4 Porsches.
Oh, Porsche. Sorry, I
Yeah.
really don't.
Porsches.
Tell us what those 4 are and which one of why do you like each? all
Okay,
4 of
so
them?
we have 331, which we're talking about.
Yeah.
That one, because every old 911 is like having your own personalized sports car. Things you can do with it. You can place it places that you wouldn't think. However, the short, the small tires, you gotta work at it.
Feels like a rail a little bit.
Not on the 911 because the engine's out more. So you're really working the throttle. You're really like jamming it in there, like in your corner. Like you just have to remind yourself just jam it down.
Yeah.
The 912, that's the car that's on rails. That's a refined car. And it feels like when you're in a corner that you're on, you're in a slot car. Very, very gentle handling on that. Very, the synchros are better. You don't have to worry as much.
And that's what a 60 is.
That's a 68.
68.
Which has its own unique,
Right.
exterior and interior bits. The 82 928 is it's a lot of fun to drive. I can see why people like 928s and automatic. Because manual, it's a little work, it's a V8, so it handles like a V8. But it's it's very comfortable, very long gearing. You can be in 60 miles an hour in a second.
Wow.
So imagine on the freeway you can
Cruiser.
That is a good. If I do Monterey this year, I'd like to do it in the 928. I think that would be a fun car to do it in.
It's a beautiful car, yeah.
And then my 2013 911, which was my first Porsche. That one's just a basic Carrera 7-speed. Leather seats, but everything else is the vinyl. I love that car. I mean, I've driven when I lived in Louisiana. I drove that all over the South, and no problems whatsoever with it. Florida, Mississippi, everywhere, Missouri.
Wow.
It's a good car. For
Is
that.
this the 65? Is that the last Porsche that you've purchase?
Yes.
The most recent?
Yes.
So you've kind of gone backwards from 2000.
I've gone backwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it gives you a different perspective and probably more respect for this 331.
It does. I have a friend that says, like the cars are on brand. So even the 65 with the 912 with the 2013, and he has an 87 also. Everything feels like a Porsche.
Oh yeah.
You still get the same feelings, from all the newer ones, older ones.
And you have best of both worlds, air cooled and water cooled.
Yes.
See, so I don't think you're just purist on like only air cooled because your collection.
I like a little
says it all.
variety. Like we've all seen Porsche collections where it's all one color of all 911
Yeah,
from this year, and it's nice, but it's just you're missing out on the whole brand.
Exactly.
I was forgetting about this one memory because it was so traumatic for me personally. When you were going up to Monterey and the car stopped working.
Oh, and you saved
And you said, just flatbed it back to our house and put it in front of the house and have Beth drive it
Down to
like
Schneider Auto
3
House.
feet into a... Do you know how nerve-wracking that was for me?
I bet.
Because you had just received that car, and I had the neighbor come out and bring blocks to put under the tires, so when I went into reverse or first or whatever I went into, it wouldn't roll down the hill. And that was
There's no one else I trust other than you two to handle it.
You had to have been very nervous knowing that I was doing that for you, though.
No, I mean at that point, the engine's the
blown
engine, it's like,
What else could I do? Okay.
Well, no, it's in you gotta throw the trust out a little.
Okay. Well, I did okay with
You
but,
did
but
great.
it was a
You
that
did
was a
great.
big-
You got
that
it
was
to Schneider Auto
My
House.
hands got sweaty talking about it. It was
And next
nerve-wracking.
time I'll bring it so you can be reunited. Yeah. And that turned out that is one of my favorites. That is a car you can take anywhere.
Beautiful car.
Oh,
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing 331.
oh you're welcome.
So because everybody here got to
Oh,
see it in
man,
person.
amazing.
Too.
Yeah.
So
It would be really, I know it's been raining here, but if you can't do a thing on a car without seeing the car. I know we have tons of pictures of it here, but
Yeah.
we can all sit in front of the computer and be like, oh.
Yeah.
Now that I can watch them touch it.
Yeah.
I
And
can
nice that
see
you
the-
drove it even though there is rain. So that's
Well, it
a
wasn't
big
raining
deal.
when I got here.
Well, will
it's not raining. Is it raining
It'll,
now?
it'll
It's a
wash
little
Is it raining? I gotta
it'll
go.
wash the bird poop off the car.
Yeah.
Is it really? Now that's gonna drive me nuts.
I know.
However, it's just got it's wrapped in plastic, so
You won't
that
know
thing-
until you go
Well,
out. I was teasing you.
Hopefully the bird poop is hiding that little ding that we need to
No,
find.
no,
landed on that.
But I'm
Exactly,
sure,
exactly. We need to
I'm
find
sure there'll
that.
be boot on that ding, etched
And
in the
it burned.
paint.
And it burned.
Through,
into
right.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the universe gave me that. Just like it can't be 100% perfect. You got to have
It's a
something.
birthmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I'm glad that you brought it to because it's like we saw all the pictures and you see this all the time, but things like that have to be experienced in person because that paint in person is the pictures don't do it justice.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
And I know that goes for a lot of cars, but specifically that color because it's such a unique
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
In general,
Yeah.
I don't care what brand it is.
Yeah.
It's a unique color, but also too like the Las Vegas ski clubs. Like I was like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, and I made it,
It ties in.
since whenever he stuck that on the window
Yeah.
there. It's like you could appreciate those things. When you see you touch it, you're like, wow, this is kind of crazy to like put your hand on something. So I think it's important for people to experience that.
Yeah.
Why it's important to go to Cars and Coffee or car shows because you'll see something that I've heard about it on the internet, but until I saw it in
See
person,
it,
I
yeah.
touched it, or when you open the door and you see it shut. If you're lucky enough to let somebody do that, by the way, I did that to your car. I hope it's okay.
Yeah, no, you wanted to hear the ping, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that
absolutely.
sound.
That's how
The distinct
that's how
sound.
I judge old cars is how does the door shut? Because like, did you spend the time to adjust it correctly?
That's right, yeah.
Hit the striker or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, that to me, those are all things that what makes cars so awesome is that you get to experience these like tactile
Right.
things.
Right.
where
Right.
you're like,
I agree.
this
Which is a huge part of West of Tulsa, right? Touching
Absolutely.
things, and seeing them and
Exactly.
feeling them, and
Exactly.
all that.
And-
It's very exciting.
And Craig, being the custodian of the 331st Porsche, do you feel it's your responsibility and due diligence to enjoy the car, but bring it out to show people and experience it? Because, having a piece of history like this, for it to be in the hangar is not going to do it justice. But I think you are, taking it out and you have the paperwork to show and being that transparent. I think
Yeah, I try to take it out as much as I can to show even just driving just around
town.
And then a couple things I want to say, like you guys didn't see it, but I brought the toolkit with it. It has its original toolkit. And one thing that survived that we never knew, we opened up the glove box and the tire pressure gauge, the original one. Out of all these years, of all the people that have touched it, taken out the glove box, they've managed to keep that in there. The one artifact in the car
Wow.
is still in there.
Does it still work?
It still works.
That's cool.
So it really had just even the belt in the toolkit is the original belt. Yeah, it's crazy. car.
Would you have purchased this car, this 331? Would you have purchased it if it didn't have the documentation that it had?
Oh, that's a good question. No one's ever asked that. Probably, because as long as it had the data plate, you have something. But would I have probably negotiated? Because this was a car you just didn't negotiate with. That's it.
It had everything.
I probably would have negotiated it.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's kind of hard to say, well, it doesn't have this or that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
And that-
But
What it was like, because I know there's a lot of people out there that will only buy a car because of the history, or because they're buying a piece of that history, and we're all about that. But some people want to buy it because they've always wanted that particular car. But this particular one, since how rare it is, obviously the story is a big part.
The story was a big part. I was never in the market for a early short wheelbase Porsche. I just never even thought about it. I had the 912, but that came in a random kind of way too. So, I just never thought I would be this lucky or that guy.
Have you blocked Mark Topper's calls yet? Does he call you all the time saying, I've got another car?
We were working on something. Yes, Mark calls, but he's sold me 4 cars so far.
Oh.
So yeah, his track record.
Keep trying.
Good.
Keep
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah, keep trying, man.
Yeah,
Keep trying.
keep
Maybe
trying.
one day. But yeah, he's good.
Awesome.
He's good.
Well, since we got a guy on our show today who is a driver, takes these cars out and drives, I think we ought to start planning out our first road trip. We
that'd
can't
be
just
amazing.
sit in the studio forever. We got to
Yeah, I mean,
hit the road.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
we
go
should be in
someplace.
cars. We do talk about cars. We
Yeah.
should be driving.
We should be
cars,
driving them.
creating our own stories, right?
And we've gone 2. Now we're into 3rd episode. I think we've gone far enough. Stationary. I think we got to hit the road.
Yeah, we should definitely take a road
Dude,
trip
that'd be amazing.
to Craig's garage, because I want to see the rest of the
Oh,
cars.
that's a great
By the way,
And
we
then
gotta
say
have.
hi to
Good
Tommy.
start.
Oh yeah,
Valley Relic. That's his neighbor.
Yeah, but I mean, because he's here for a Porsche, but he's a Jag guy, so there's a whole Jag story, and I'm sure there's
Amazing.
like all 7 guys in the country that are Jag guys, right?
You guys can do the podcast from there as well.
Oh,
And that's what we're talking about doing,
Yeah.
taking it on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely want to talk about the Jaguars, because especially in the U.S., correct me if I'm wrong, there's not that many Jag guys or Porsche guys.
No, they don't just, everyone loves them. Oh, pretty cars, but they never get love.
And no one knows anything about them. They're like, oh, what's that famous, like an E-Type? They're like, oh, what's that green?
Like
I think that-
throwy
yeah.
thing.
What car is that? And they're like, oh, it's a Jaguar. That's all they know is a Jaguar. That and they always break down or something like that.
And they get 8 miles to the gallon. Don't
Oh,
they?
yeah.
That I got to admit. They suck it up.
Yeah. But when you're getting cars like that, obviously you're not getting it for the
That's right.
efficiency.
Well,
Maybe a
that's right.
74, 87 Celica, you would.
Well,
But-
on a long road trip, you don't want to have to stop every 210 miles.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
I think Jeremy Clarkson had something where he'd got in a Jag, and then the next scene he was at the gas station. Sometimes it's like that.
Yeah.
So this is like you're like, but I went from one part of the valley to another, and there's a quarter tank already going.
So have you applied to pull over and look underneath to make sure you just weren't leaking fuel?
Well, no, because you never know. Because Jaguar, like the older ones, there's always that oil smell.
Yeah.
With the leather
Burning up
and
in the back. Yeah.
fuel and everything. Yeah, everything smells.
But they're beautiful.
They are.
They are.
There's not one really bad looking Jaguar. Maybe the X type. Maybe during the 2000s.
Now the English make very nice looking cars.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I wish they would start doing it again more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will they bring back manuals, do you think?
Some are. I mean, Porsche is actually building more manuals now than they did
That's a tough one.
5 years ago.
It'd be nice.
I mean, because like with the new A90 Supra, the new Supra that they came out with, they was complaining that one, it has a BMW, drivetrain, but it came out as an automatic, and they was like, oh, make it manual. So Toyota, they say they put the BMW manual transmission in them, but I don't think they got as many sales. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments there, but I don't think they've sold as many as they'd like to, because people are
People
just
don't know how
it's
to
like,
drive 'em.
yeah, build the manual, but they don't buy it. It's like, why would the manufacturer build something if you're not going to buy it?
They're so fun to drive, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's our generation speaking. And you get the kids. I have had people walk up to my Porsche, teenagers who walk up and they'll stick their head and go, "Oh my God, is that a manual?" It is.
Shocking.
And I'm like, "Well, is this a big deal?
Yeah, try
Yes, the millennial
Yeah.
theft deterrent.
How many gears?"
try getting a kid with a manual window. That's fun.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Boy,
How
How do I put it down? Yeah.
Well, you know your data when he says, "Hey, I rolled down the window," and you use this gesture, not
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, my daughter got in the Porsche the first time, and she's like, well, Dad, I want to turn the channel. So,
The radio.
yeah, turn the channel on the radio. Just do it. But how? She's probably used to doing it on an app or something like that. And I
You
said,
should
no,
turn on
literally you
AM.
have to
You should
push
turn on
button.
AM for her.
Yeah.
Hey,
You ever heard this before?
what's the radio? What is that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's got
Do you need
knobs
do you
and
need a
buttons.
subscription to the radio?
Yeah, that's what they probably think. Oh my God. We appreciate you coming by. Really
I
do.
appreciate being here.
Great
Can I come back?
stories.
Can I come
Yes,
back?
please.
Oh,
come
Oh
back.
yeah, we gotta talk about the Jags
Yeah.
next time.
And your
And
next
everything
car.
else.
Yeah, every time you buy a car, you have to come back and tell us about it.
Oh, that means I got to come with a Super 3 now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to be buying cars every week now. Thanks.
Wait, before we go, what would you say is the biggest challenge with the stories of these cars, like transferring these stories or keep getting the stories from car to car? Because I know that's a big deal. We even I mean, this whole reason why we're here is not just authenticating, but keeping and preserving these stories. So when the next custodian of the car takes over, what do you think would be the biggest challenge, or what is the biggest challenge of keeping that story with that car?
Oh man, well, one, making stories with the car. You know, everyone's life is busy. I would love to be able to just leave on weekends in these cars and go wherever I wanted, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I guess just keeping all the documentation in order, like just
Yeah.
it's if you move once, things get lost.
Yeah.
Just to keep it all together.
Yeah.
Have you ever written down to kind of connect the dots between all of the documentation?
No, I haven't done that.
Because that might be important.
Yeah.
That isn't what I would love. With the airplanes, I keep meticulous logbooks of every flight.
Oh, and you have
or I should.
airplanes too. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And he's a pilot, so.
That's right.
Did I say it?
I'm
did
not
I
an
s-
eccentric person at all. Just
Did I say that at the beginning? I think I
Yeah.
did. Just use
I
the
don't know
pilot.
if
Yeah.
I don't think
know
I
if we-
did.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
mentioned
think
he was a
want-
pilot.
I don't know if we would want.
But
an
I didn't go
eccentric
deep into
pilot
it.
flying.
No, we
I
all
don't.
are.
I want a pilot that's about the details and getting us there safely. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
details with some stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so they're meticulous with the logbook. Cars, I wish I was. I've known some guys that have done that, like every mile, like I did this day. I should have done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I
What
can't
else?
do
My,
that.
Craig-
my
Craig-
grandfather probably.
Yeah,
Craig, are any of your planes vintage? Do you have any vintage planes? Or
I
no?
don't. I use other people's planes because
Gotcha.
with cars it's easy. If you don't fix them, you can find a mechanic, and they cost whatever they cost. But with an airplane, if you don't fix them, man,
Oh,
those
yeah.
mechanics will get to you. They will. Yeah, they'll latch onto you. And, oh man, worse than a vampire.
And he gives lessons too if you guys want to
Yeah.
learn to fly, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I teach people how to fly. So yeah, use
be
other people's
amazing.
planes,
Yeah.
especially with those students.
You come back and visit us
I will come back and
if you
visit.
buy another car, but
When
We
you
may
buy
have-
another car, he's going to buy another car.
Well, we got to talk about
Or we're
the
gonna
Jags.
visit.
We
We're
got to talk
gonna
about the
visit
Jags
you
next time
at
for
the
sure.
hangar. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll bring all 4 of them. Bring a little crew.
that'd be cool.
of what, all the new cars that you bought?
No, all the
You're gonna-
all the Jags.
Oh, all the Jags. Yeah, because
Yeah,
Gabe wants to see the Jag.
Absolutely.
Oh no, I want to see. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I wanna see them too.
All right. Anything else for Craig?
No.
Oh, I actually
Not,
have.
not
Oh,
on,
I do.
Not on camera.
She looked at me very motherly, like, no.
No,
Don't ask him any more questions.
No, I do
I know
have
the answers. I'm not going to ask.
I have a last question. Being that you're the second owner and custodian of the 331st car, has it inspired you to even know more about the previous owner, Lieutenant Mike?
Well, I know he's pretty documented. I know.
Really?
I would love to call his widow, but I haven't had good luck calling old owners of the car. I had Mike once call the old owner with me with the 912. She hung up on him.
Oh,
She
wow.
just got
Really?
really. Yeah, I was like,
Surprise.
you hear stories, like we call the owner, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're all met and we're best friends now, and but man, I called that lady hung up on him so quick. Like, we have this old Porsche. Click. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I have a basic idea of that car's, but
Part of
yeah,
a
so I'm
divorce,
always-
maybe?
Yeah. Traumatic experience.
No, it's like I think it was traded. That 912 was traded for some work around the house or something.
Oh,
It fell into
Wow.
not nefarious hands, but someone's hands who shouldn't have had it.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a whole story for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would like, I'd like to call the widow. And,
Yeah.
on the keys, I can show you on the keys of the car. I can't show them up here, but I have his dog tag.
Oh my God.
I got another thing with this car.
Yeah.
So
I think we have a picture of that on the blog.
He's an army
Yeah.
in the army. He was
Air Force.
Oh,
He's a
Air
pilot. He
Force.
was a pilot.
Oh, he's a pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's
see
a little
that?
Yeah,
connection
see
there.
that?
The
Yeah.
alignment.
This is so you. This says so much about you because you honor that. And you have
thank
that with
you.
you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Beautiful.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
that
amazing.
is.
I don't know what happened if the widow asked for it back.
Oh,
I would have to give it back.
you would give it back.
Well, you have to. So,
Yeah.
But what if they won the car back? That's the question. Oh, that would be a tough one.
Oh, wow. But I think we need to, as a team, now investigate who that woman was in front of the Queen Elizabeth II
Yes.
in that photo. I need to see that after this because
Yes.
we're going to do some hunting. I'm going to be under your wing to investigate.
Oh, I
Facial
can't-
recognition.
Oh.
I was about to say.
Facial recognition. We've got some new technology.
I'll throw it.
Yeah,
in,
maybe.
Throw it in Chat GPT.
You find out who it is.
Yeah.
Well,
That's good.
you don't want to ask the widow that question because if it turns
Oh,
out
oh,
it's somebody else, you have to.
Wouldn't that be?
Oh, there you
Wouldn't
go.
that be?
Oh,
a thing?
What woman? What?
Yeah,
what are you
right,
talking
It's only
about?
been with me. I came out to England.
What year was this?
She'd
Oh
do
my
more
God.
than hang up on you.
Yeah, that's a challenge. We can
Right?
try and figure
Yeah.
that out. All right. Okay.
Well,
This
I'll
was
have more
fun.
stories about that car the next time then.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. All right.
Kicking me off.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Craig, for coming by.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So go to our socials. Like, follow. Gabe is like wincing right now. Like, is she really going to fuck this up again?
This is gonna hurt.
Like, follow, subscribe. And we have our YouTube
Channel.
Thank you very much. You have to go check out Helm's Outtakes. I know I've made a big deal about this, but it's worth it.
It'll
It
brighten your
really
day.
is.
We'll put the link in the description.
It's about to go viral. You can watch it before it goes viral. Check it out. All right. And then we've got our tip line page. So that's something that we've started here. So if you think you belong in
I'm
this
gonna
chair
give you a
more
tip
than
every
Craig,
I know this guy.
if you belong here more than Craig, what you do is fill out the tip line and send it in to us. And who knows, maybe you'll be here instead of Craig.
Not in this
Telling
chair.
your
I'm
story.
taking this chair with me.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you west of Tulsa.